Hello everybody, I'm here waiting for Roland and I'm going to have lunch with him and then I'm going to do some work for the afternoon. I had probably the worst morning, maybe 90% of it was my fault. I slept in and I did manage to sort of eat breakfast and get ready, pack my bag by 11, and then as I went around and closed our apartment, the world's dumbest bumblebee flew into the bedroom and it got itself trapped up against the window and it wouldn't leave. I guess I sort of had a really mental moment where I was like panicked because I'm like scared of bumblebees, and I'm also allergic to bees too, so I sort of panicked, called Roland. I'm like, I can't leave because it's a bumblebee, and he's like, just close the window. So yeah, perfect solution, a simple one. This is actually the first time I've been able to record a video since, I think before my birthday, the 24th of May, I had dental implant surgery. So I had a titanium implant inserted into my upper jaw and my lower jaw, and for some crazy reason I thought, yeah, in a couple of days I'd be able to film a video, and yeah, that was foolishness because my cheek was like puffy. I mean, it wasn't quite chipmunk style, but it was sort of getting there, and then I had like puffy, like really puffy under eye, and then I had bruising and it hurt to talk, smile, laugh. It's still, laughing really does hurt. So, and I've got stitches, so, which is why I'm sort of getting a lot of pain in my mouth. So I sort of feel like I owe you guys a video. So I'm going to do like a, maybe not day in the life, but like a weekly vlog for you guys. Just to sort of say thanks for being patient with me. So yeah, so I'm going to show you the behind the scenes of what it's like to write and edit and prepare a book for publication, which is basically what I do. I mean, I also have other things that I do, but I'm just going to show you the things that relate to sort of being a writer and maybe maybe other sort of interesting things that I do that are worth documenting. So I'll just leave out all the boring parts and just show you the interesting things. So Roland and I decided to go to one of the large Google cafeterias for lunch, and what you're seeing right here is it's a margarita calzone, and I've got a smoothie. It's more of a tropical fruit based smoothie. So after lunch, Roland and I went to quieter working areas. Within the Google headquarters, there's quite a few places. There's lots of cafes, cafeterias. There's like a coffee shop right at the top, and there's a few other working places where you can work. This particular, but they aren't all accessible for non-Googlers. So Roland and I like to go to this really quiet area where we are here, and because this is a Friday, I devote the first part of my working day to working on things in my business. So here I'm curating content for my social media platforms, and then after this I do a little bit of training, and then I worked on one of my free products, which is called How to Outline a Novel. At the moment I'm doing an outline for my How to Outline a Novel book. So that's what I'm doing right here. So Roland and I are at the Breakfast Club, and I ordered a club sandwich thinking it was going to be, I don't know, I did ask them and she said, oh, it's quite big, so I thought maybe it's like, I don't know, a large sandwich, but it's like a tower. It's enormous. Like, yes, my sandwich is a tower. So Roland was really sensible, and he got, is it like an Eggs Benedict?
It's Eggs Benedict, yes.
Oh, it is Eggs Benedict. Yes. Yes. Sensible food choices made by this man. No. Oh, and you got like little potatoes. They're Roland's. So I only ended up eating half of that sandwich for obvious reasons. I'm really excited because Roland and I are now going to the cinema and we're going to see Wonder Woman. It didn't actually take me too much convincing to get you to see it.
No, actually, I think it was your idea.
Yeah, I wanted to go see it. I've never really, the only time I've ever seen Wonder Woman in anything is like, they used to have like DC comic cartoons on the TV in the morning around 7 a.m. in Australia. I can't remember what channel it was, so I'm really excited. Hello everybody. So yesterday I went to my local Waterstones with Roland. I went there with the intention of helping Roland look for a gift for one of his relatives, and because I'm a huge lover and hoarder of books, I ended up leaving with these. I actually forgot to film in Waterstones because I don't know, I guess it's a combination of a bit of an idiot, and I just completely forgot I was filming this weekly video for you guys, which is really terrible. So I thought I would spend a few quick seconds going through the books that I've brought. So the first book I purchased is called No Middle Name by Lee Child. It's a beautiful hardback edition, and it's actually a collection of short stories. I actually saw this one in the front sort of display window of Waterstones. My local Waterstones has like a ton of books there, and it's sort of like a trap. You sort of see the window and you sort of get sucked in, and this is what happens. So I brought this this book purely because it's a collection of complete stories featuring Jack Reacher. I was actually thinking about doing a very similar thing with my character James Roland. So I purchased this purely because I was interested in figuring out how Lee Child wrote these short stories, and whether this particular anthology has a particular theme, or he just put a collection of sort of short stories in here and published them for his fans. So yeah, that's why I purchased this book. The second book is called Honeymoon by, I'll show you the front cover first. It's called Honeymoon by Tina Sezki. I'm pretty sure you don't pronounce the S. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I actually found this book, as you can see, it was buy one get one half price. What made me purchase this book was basically the blurb at the back. It's basically about a woman who goes on a honeymoon to the Maldives, and her husband goes missing. Like he sort of goes missing without a trace. What drew me to the book was the fact that it sort of said honeymoon, and I'm about to get married next month in July, so I was quite curious as to how this book would play out. And there is something interesting about people going missing. I find that fascinating. I know that's possibly a bit weird, but that's why I purchased that book. The next one is Private Deli by James Patterson, and it's by James Patterson. He's co-authored it with someone, and unfortunately I didn't actually research how to pronounce their name. This is so bad. So basically I have a few private books of the Private series in my collection. I have Private Paris, and I've read the first book in this series, which is ironically called Private. I sort of found that first book, it had quite a few plot lines, and because of that I found it really complicated, and I did find the lead character a teeny bit cliche. But I don't particularly just want to write an entire series of books off because I didn't like one book. So sometimes it does take you maybe a book or two to sort of get used to the character as it evolves. So I thought, because he's such a huge writer in my genre, and he's basically one of the best selling in my genre, I sort of need to read him and figure out why people like it, so I can put my own spin on that in my own books. And the fourth book is called it's just called Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. I think I just butchered that. No, I definitely butchered that. So basically this is the second book in the Red Queen series. a couple of months, maybe it was about a month ago now, I went to my local Waterstones and I was talking to one of the sales assistants there about this particular idea that I had, and it was basically a medieval style fantasy book, and the protagonist for that particular book idea was he's about 20, so he's quite young to be featured in an adult book, and I was sort of thinking, is this suitable for YA? And I sort of talked to him about the not that young adult is a genre, it's more of a reading, it's an audience, so what the young adult audience sort of expected, and he pointed out to me that it's not just young adults that sort of, it's not people in their late teens that read this, it's people of all ages. So I've picked up this book. The first time I went, I picked up The Red Queen. I'm not going to pull that out because it's sort of down here. It's sort of down, I have a pile of books next to my desk and I don't want to sort of create a massive noise that I have to edit out in this vlog. So yeah, so I purchased the Red Queen. I'm going to read this because the interesting thing about the medieval period is it is a quite violent period, so I can't avoid violence. So this is sort of in a similar genre of YA that my book would possibly, and so I want to read these particular books, sort of get a general idea of how much violence, and I guess the standard that this book sets, sort of figure out, is my book similar, because I don't particularly want, letters from angry parents saying your books are too violent, my kid found your book and it's too violent. I don't particularly want that. So if it's not YA, I'm going to have to fiddle with story idea and maybe possibly make him a little bit older, or maybe not. Yeah, so those are the 4 books that I purchased in Waterstones. If you're interested in these, I'll put a link in the description box below. So my writing goal for this week is to finish revising my thriller novel Immunity. It's actually the first book in the series, but I've written a prequel, and I'm also going to write another shorter story just for people to sort of enjoy until this particular book is actually ready. It sort of provides a bit of background information for people to sort of get to know James Roland, and I guess you could say sort of create a connection with him. So the way I revised my novel is I finished writing Immunity, I think in October last year. Then I sort of wrote Silence, and I took a break in December, January, and I got back to writing in February. And what I sort of found was I found the whole revision and editing process really sort of daunting. There's a lot of very vague information out there about how to revise a novel, and I found none of this information useful because it's very surface level. So I had to go through and sort of I decided to create a checklist or a list of questions to ask myself, so as I went through and revised my novel, I would pay attention to these particular story elements. So when I compiled the checklist, it was really long, and I thought I'm not going to be able to do all of this at once. So I broke the checklist down into little segments, groups of segments. So it turns out there's about 9 different segments to the edit, and I refer to this as a heavy fiction edit. So the last one is a proofread. So I'm just going through. So number 8 is a line edit, and it pays attention to the word usage, and that's where I sort of check out repetitive word usage, and I mean repetitive word usage in a bad way. You can use repetition to sort of create vivid imagery with writing, but it can also be done quite badly where you're just using the same types of words over and over again, and that's what I'll be paying attention to in heavy edit number 8. So when I hand it to my developmental editor, it's not just riddled with errors. So I'm doing, the best possible job I can with my manuscript, and then my developmental editor is going to take it to that next level. So at the moment, the first stage, the heavy edit, is just a read through and to write down first impressions and the things that jump out to me at that time. And then I start looking at the second edit is a larger view of the novel. So I look at the novel as a whole, and I sort of think, is it a satisfying read? And that's when I sort of realized I had a few plot holes in my novel, and that's perfectly normal. So what I did was I realized I need to write a few scenes, and in total it's about, I think, 6 or 7. Iron out those plot holes, bring about a few satisfying resolutions. And I realized the way I left my novel, I didn't return James back to his world, his ordinary world, which is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to start a character off in their ordinary world, and you're supposed to return them to that world differently. And I didn't quite do that, so I wrote a couple of extra scenes just showing that. And the reason why there's 2 is the scenes, because I'm writing a thriller, the scenes I have are really short, they're fast paced, and that's why there's 2 instead of 1. And there's a reason why there's 2 as well. And I guess the last one's really like an epilogue, so that's what I did today. When I started the vlog, I realized that I went through and I recorded all of the stuff that I was doing today with my writing, and then I realized I didn't do an introduction, so I'm super sorry. So that's why this particular vlog will seem a little bit out of sync. So basically what I'm doing in this clip is I'm actually writing the scene, but there's actually a step that I do before I actually start writing the scene. Is I tend to flesh out the scene in Scrivener, which is the computer program that I'm using. So what I mean by that is I write a whole list of notes. These things need to happen in this scene for the scene before it and the scene after and the rest of the book to be able to make sense. So I write a whole list of notes for myself to guide me through writing the scene, and then you'll see on the far right hand side there's like a little synopsis up there to guide me, and then there's a whole bunch of notes down the bottom right hand corner, and these are sort of the value shift in the scene. And what I mean by that is how the scene begins, how it ends. I talk about the type of conflict that's in the scene, and then I write out the question that I want the reader to be asking themselves as the scene closes, and then I reiterate the cliffhanger that I want to leave the scene on. So that's what I'm sort of doing here. And then after I did all that, I went and wrote the scene, which is why you're seeing me writing a paragraph, a bunch of list of words. Hello everybody and happy Friday. This morning I focused on the business side of writing. Yes, writing is a business. I know business can sound like a scary word, especially for people who consider themselves creative, but I swear it isn't. So this morning I went through and I updated my cash flow spreadsheet, which is basically the money that comes in and goes out of my business. So I think it's really important to monitor cash flow. My habit of doing this does come from, I spent about 10 or 11 years working in finance, so I love spreadsheets. I've been unable to drop my habit of monitoring cash flow, so I do that for both of my business and obviously myself personally, because I like to see how I'm spending my money. I do put sort of categories on these things, and then I can see an overview of what I've spent so far for the year and then just in total. So I think it's really important to monitor things, because I believe that if you fail to monitor something, it won't grow. So if you're not aware of how you're spending money in your business, you'll probably be spending more money than what you actually have. And this isn't like, it is common to have a deficit in business. Usually the first year you can spend more money than what you actually make, and this is actually quite normal, because you do have to invest in your business. I think that's really important. And if you have like a writing career and you want to make money telling stories, then this is applicable for that as well. You almost have to invest in your own career before you can really start to make money. It's just one of those necessary things. So that's what I did this morning. I do that every week on a Friday morning. And what I did next was, with this business, like all my other businesses that I have had, I've been putting off creating a sales funnel for this business, mainly because it's like, I just want to write and talk about writing, which is a bit ridiculous. Because in order for me to, make money, I have to sort of create a system to be able to do that. And that's what a sales funnel is. So let me briefly explain what a sales funnel is. So a sales funnel explains basically how your audience will find your business, how you intend on building that know, like, and trust factor. The know, like, and trust factor is basically a marketing term that sort of explains how the process people take in order to buy from a business. And then obviously the last part of the sales funnel is the actual funnel. So if you do a Google search, you'll probably see a lot of diagrams of a upside down triangle, and basically the concept of it is the widest part of the triangle is your free or cheapest product. In the case of the book, like if you're writing books, that that widest part of your sales funnel probably will be a free book, and the next step underneath that will be, your ebooks. Then it might be sort of like paperbacks or hardbacks, and then probably the most expensive item you have will be an audiobook. And you'll find that the people that opt in for your free product don't always go through and purchase your ebooks and all your other items, and this is okay, because what you want to create is a list of fans who love your work and want to read every book. That's what you want. You don't just want anyone and everyone reading your stuff. You want it to be read by the right people and have those people really love your work. So because I haven't really created this for the how to write side of my business, I'm probably going to have to focus sometime over the next few months creating. I have sort of outlined a free product that I want to create and other things that I can add on to help my audience of aspiring writers sort of reach their writing goals. So in order for me to create products that actually work and get results, I'll have to spend a time surveying my audience. So to encourage people to do the survey, I'll probably give them a free product. So the survey will probably take maybe 3 minutes to fill out, and then they'll get a free product that'll help them on their writing journey. So at the moment, I'm probably going to give away a how to outline a novel ebook. It's a relatively short ebook. It's about 80 to 100 pages, and it just focuses on outlining, taking your idea and fleshing it out into an outline of a full novel. And sometimes that's, if you don't know how to outline, that's actually quite a difficult process, and everyone sort of says to do something different. So this is just an ebook you can go through, and it's just like a step-by-step process. So that's what I did this morning. Hello again. It's 6:30 on a Friday evening. I've just finished filming my writing tips video, so I have a ton of editing that I need to do. I need to edit this weekly vlog as well as that other video that I did this week. I also need to start editing my podcast intro. That still needs a lot of work. So I actually had a lot of fun filming this video for you guys. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm thinking about doing more weekly vlogs like this, but maybe at first they'll be once every 2 weeks, and then once I get into the habit of filming videos like this, then I'll probably do it on a weekly basis. So let me know what you think. Do you like these, behind the scenes, a week in the life of a writer? Let me know in the comment section below. Or would you like a monthly vlog? Although that might be too long. I have a funny feeling this vlog could be about maybe 20 to 30 minutes. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.